Well, Gene Simmons. Got some Kiss music? Gene doing Family Jewels Sunday night at 9 o'clock on A&E. And this show last year, I'm not sure where it ended. I just remember him putting the kids' band together and going to the show.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly how that went, except that plenty of people showed up.
Yeah.
Because Gene was there.
Of course.
And Gene got pretty involved in the whole thing. But anyway, it's always a pleasure, of course, to talk to Mr. Gene Simmons, ladies and gentlemen, on a cold Good Friday morning. Good Friday, by the way. Snow flurries early, clouds, a few snow showers possible later in the day. High 35 today, and then tomorrow, just 36. And then Sunday, mostly cloudy, high of 42. It's 23 now at the Riff.
Maybe we should have a four-way kiss.
Hey, Gene.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm deliriously happy.
You are. You're always happy.
Yeah.
But we heard you weren't very happy with the telephone.
Well, it wasn't me. I'm just trying to make everybody happy here. Sometimes engineers need to be fired, and that's why the word was invented.
All right. Yeah. What happened? Your phone was, they were screwed up on your end, or you couldn't hear them?
They're doing a satellite feed, and somebody in Cleveland, wherever it is, didn't understand what the buttons were for. So.
Well, yeah, they ought to be fired. But engineers never get fired, do they?
I don't have a clue.
That's my experience, but you're in a different level than I am, so...
No, it's not true. We're all on the same level. Everybody's got to poop every day. Just got to bring it down to the basics.
Hey, I have to give you credit for having a lot of courage to let those pictures get out there after your surgery. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people who went, damn it, I've wanted to have a facelift for 10 years, and now that Gene Simmons has had one, I guess it doesn't look that bad. I'll do it.
I guess what you really mean is that we're talking about the Gene Simmons Family Jewels show that's on A&E Sunday night at 9 o'clock.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
How bad did that facelift hurt?
Actually, not a lot. It was a little discomfortable, but between local anesthetics and where medicine is today, it's fascinating what they can do. I mean, they can literally take your face off and throw it over your left shoulder like a scarf in the wind.
I know. I've seen video of it, and most people, when they're done with it, well, I think all people, they look like they've been beaten up. And but the surgeons, you know how they are. They're always, no big deal, no problem. And then you come out of your anesthetic, and it's like, oh, my God.
Well, I didn't have that reaction because I'm delusionally in love with myself. I actually think I'm better looking than I am.
Yeah, but
I never had a problem. I never had a problem with it. I just looked like, wow, there's a championship sumo wrestler.
When you had the surgery now, did they put you on pain medication? Because I know you're very anti-alcohol, you're very anti-drug.
Well, they knocked me out, but I took no pain pills.
You took no pain pills?
After, when they knock you out, obviously. Something's going through your veins.
I don't put that in the same category as drug abuse. That's kind of,
It's just therapeutic.
Yeah, right.
I think that's a misnomer. I think the idea of drug abuse infers that there's smart use of drugs. No, I think it's drug use. It shouldn't be drug abuse.
So you felt it would be drug abuse to take pain pills for your facelift?
Well, it really didn't hurt. It was
okay.
Yeah, it was really uncomfortable, but, people take all kinds of drugs for anything. Gee, I've got a sore butt. I think I'll take some drugs.
Right.
I mean, that's just the discomfort of being alive. Your nerve endings are working. So it wasn't the kind of pain that made you say, I can't bear this, I got to take drugs.
Yeah. How long does it take to recover from a facelift?
Everybody's different. Mine took about 2.5 months, and it's been about 3 months since then, and I'm stunning.
Yeah, you look very healthy. I have to say it certainly worked, and we understand Shannon though is having a few problems. How's she doing now?
Well, she had some problems with a tube that went down her throat. Something about the liquids and stuff, and that irritated it and became inflamed.
Oh, boy.
But it's okay. I mean, it's all good.
So you two are still happily unmarried, of course, after 23 years.
That's the idea. The idea of never being married means nobody can say, where are you going? Where am I going? Who wants to know? Last time I checked, only the mother who gave me life itself can ask me that question. So the truth is that I think marriage has gotten such a rotten name because people have flushed it down the toilet, which is to say that almost synonymous with marriage is the word divorce. And my question is, if you had the balls to stand in front of your loved ones and God and promise, take an oath, you'd stay together for the rest of your lives, how come you're allowed to get out? Why are you allowed to get divorced? What happened to the oath?
Yeah.
I actually believe in words. I think words mean something. And apparently to the rest of the people out there, it doesn't. Because, you can promise you'll stay together forever. And then when you change your mind, you get a divorce.
But what's weird about that is that people do that, and then you think they'd learn their lesson, and then, they get married and divorced again and again and again.
The big problem with marriage is one of the two tends to be a man.
Yeah. Although some of these women are pieces of work as well.
No,
these days.
It has to do with the nature of man. You manufacture hundreds of millions of sperm every day. You have no choice in the matter. She makes 1 or 2 eggs in the entire month. So the tendency biologically is she wants to settle down and nest and have one guy, and your tendency is not.
Yeah, although there are a lot of women having affairs these days.
I know that, but eventually as the clock, it's called a biological clock. As the biological clock marches forward, she wants to settle down.
Now, what about the adoption thing, Dean? Or Gene, Shannon wants to adopt, and you're having some mixed feelings about it, or how do you feel about that?
Well, they're only so, I try not to do something I can't do fully, and like anything, everything takes time. As far as Shannon is concerned, she'd adopt everybody on Earth. It's just this kind of the motherly thing. It's biology.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
And, you want. Oh God, there's nothing like her. And it's been 23 years. And she doesn't torture me. The rest of your girls out there torture you. Where are you going? What does it mean? The vacuum cleaner's broken. Shut up. She doesn't step in front of the TV set when I'm watching it. And I, likewise, don't step in front of her when she shops.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And have a nice, open, clean relationship where as you're watching the ball game, instead of her talking to you while you're doing that, she makes you a sandwich. That's good.
Hey, Gene, you're such a principled man. I have to ask you this because you're also a very wealthy man. You've been extremely successful with KISS. How do you keep from spoiling the crap out of your kids?
You don't simply by deciding not to. How do you decide to be straight and never get high or drunk or smoke cigarettes? Well, it's a decision. It's not difficult. You just decide these are the rules. Good fences make good neighbors. The idea of negotiating with children is lunacy. Number one, they have no life experiences to refer to. Number two, there are no repercussions for bad behavior. And number three, and most importantly, I'm bigger than you are.
Do you get manipulated by kids the way most parents do?
Doesn't fly with me. The reason Sophie and Nicholas are the most charming people I know, and they also happen to be our kids, is that that's what's demanded. Your only job as a child is to do well in school and be charming. That's it. That's your job. My job is to go make lots of money, protect you, even give my life so that you can survive. So there's no negotiating. You have a simple, every one of your needs is taken care of. So the old adage is true. If you live under my roof, they're my rules. As soon as you can afford to, go off on your own, you can make it up as you go along. But as long as it's my world, you live by my rules.
What about the chores in the Simmons household? Who takes the garbage out? Who mows the lawn?
Every once in a while.
Who vacuums the panty room?
Every once in a while, I will. Although, Nick and Sophie are responsible for their rooms and stuff like that. They've never had an allowance. On the other hand, pretty much whatever they want, they can get. I'm about to fly to New York to do an Xbox promotion for the company. They're paying for it, but I also happen to be a fan. And the reason we're not wanting is they just sent over 2 Xboxes. Not that I have a clue how to work it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a good piece of interesting news. Yesterday, the eBay auction closed. The auction was for pediatric AIDS, and the auction was to have dinner with Shannon Tweed and Gene Simmons. Now, you want to guess a number what the winning bid was?
Oh, let's see. I'm going to guess, because I know how that KISS Army, I got to tell you, there's something else. I'm going to guess $50,000 bucks.
$75,100 and some odd dollars.
That's a chunk of change.
Man, oh man, what does this guy do for a living?
I don't know, but he wants to have dinner desperately. More importantly, all the money goes to a very good cause.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Did it go down the line to 2 people and he just outbid the other guy, or did he just have that?
Oh, this was going on for about a week. The very first bid came in at $24,000, something.
Wow.
Well, that's great. And Family Jewels, I know you guys are already...
Oh, you mean Gene Simmons Family Jewels?
Yeah, Gene Simmons Family Jewels, I'm sorry, on A&E, Sundays at 9 p.m. Gene, we always appreciate the time. Somehow, there always seems to be something going on with you. I don't know how you do it, but thanks for the time.
You bet.
All right, man.
Gene. We'll see you. Okay.
Oh, my God, is he arrogant?
Boy.
Oh, man, that's tough to take.
Apparently.
Oh, my God.
We're all the same. We all, wait, what did
we all poop.
We all poop.
Yeah, we all poop.
We all have a panty room.
Yeah.
We all have problems with our telephone, except for the secure phone in the panty room.
Of course, his bathroom is worth $100,000.
Oh, they don't get spoiled. And then 2 sentences later, he says, they have basically everything they could ever want and need. It's like, well, wait a minute. Do you spoil them, or do they get everything?
Yeah.
Do you not spoil them, or do they get everything they want and need?
Yeah, and also the idea that I'm bigger than them. So, so then you spank them because now you're talking about the idea of shoving your kids around because you're the bigger animal.
This is where I disagree with Gene wholeheartedly, and I wasn't gonna argue with him because you can't argue with Gene Simmons.
No, God, no.
No one would dare to do that.
No, it's not worth it.
Well, it's not.
It just causes him to go on and on all the more because he's never going to come around to your point of view. So
and he'll never shut up.
Exactly.
But to get good grades and to be charming is not the definition of an unspoiled child, because getting good grades is something that they do for them. That's not something that helps the family or helps keep the household running. Not spoiling your kid, in my definition, would be, sure, you probably should get decent grades, and I think there's too much emphasis on that. I've noticed that to be the definition in wealthier portions of this area. As long as your kid's doing decent in school, then they can do whatever the bleep they want, and they get a car when they're 16, and so on and so forth. Probably a new car, in fact.
Oh, yeah, it's all new cars now. Nobody goes out and gets a $500 piece of crap, as their first car anymore.
But when I was a kid...
But sometimes use it as a goal. If you get this, you get the car.
Well, I hate that. I think that's really wrong. That's
goals.
That's bribery. I don't even think the shrinks say that's what you're supposed to do, but there are things it takes to run a household, such as mowing lawns, shoveling snow,
dishes.
There's all kinds of things that have to be done to keep a house running. And if the kids only have to get good grades and be charming, then they're really not doing anything for anyone else. They're doing something for themselves.
Well, then the parents have bragging rights because their kid is smarter than the other kids in their mind. My child got straight A's. My kid, the old "my kid is an honor student" bumper sticker.
But I think it gives kids the faulty idea that as long as I'm successful, then I'm doing fine and I'm not spoiled. Well,
there's a lot of people that are like that. They feel like as long as they're successful, they make a lot of money, then they have the right to do whatever they want to do. You see that in adulthood with some of these dudes out there.
But adults, what adults do, it's funny how this has all disappeared too. I remember when we were kids. I don't know if your parents said stuff like this, but children to be seen and not heard. And you had a list of chores and there was stuff that you had to do to contribute to the household. You weren't allowed to be a bum. There was a little more of a standard for what constituted being a contributor to the household. It wasn't just bring home a decent report card. You would get asked to do crap from time to time, whether it was go to the store and pick up something for your mother, or shovel the driveway so your mother doesn't slip and fall, or
mow the lawn.
Yeah, mow the lawn, whatever it was. I don't know. I had a paper route when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
You had a paper route?
Yeah, Royal Tribune.
Really? How'd it go?
The Royal Tribune. I loved it.
Really? Were you a good
really
paper boy?
enjoyed it. Yeah, I was. I was a great paper boy. I was always on
you had a
time.
Paper route too?
Oh, God, I pedaled it around in a Stingray,
It seems like everybody
great.
had a paper route.
Yeah, it was a cool thing.
I'm willing to bet, and I hate to admit such an egregious error, but I'm not a huge watcher of Gene Simmons Family Jewels on A&E.
Oh, no, I watched it for a while. It's such a display of arrogance. It's really tough to watch.
His kid...
Gene Simmons Family Jewels.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I know. I was just emphasizing it again.
But when your kid gets a car at 16, and I'm just guessing, does his son have a new car?
One of them doesn't he drive a black BMW?
I mean, how hard is he making his kid?
Yeah, the kid does. Right.
One of those.
Right.
You know, how hard is he making his kid work for anything anyway? It's just like starting this band. When I was watching, it was he was using the show to make a big deal out of his kids and to basically pave the road for his kids, the next generation of the Simmons kids.
Right, which is what half these stars seem to be doing now.
Well, exactly. Although you would think the way he defines values and what's important that he wouldn't do that and want the kid to legitimately battle it out on his own. But no, you know, so the kid has a band, and what happens? Gene is right there and helping him to write the music and getting the band together and sitting in band practice, and then makes a big deal of it. Shows up in the front row of the concert to draw the crowds.
Yeah, introduces them. Remember
introduces the band.
The whole episode you're talking about focused on the artwork.
Absolutely, absolutely. But all the while it'll tell you about like as if the kid has to do everything on his own. Everything is being handed the kid. He's setting up interviews for the kid.
Well, he made a comment in the interview about how I just made an appearance for Xbox. I left my secure phone in the panty room for a weekend in order to get a couple of. In order to do this thing for Xbox, and they sent us 2 Xbox 360s. I don't know how the thing works.
Well, that's his attempt at humor right there, and an extreme wit in his mind to sit there and say, oh, by the way, I don't know how it works.
But what he was implying was that the kid got an Xbox not because he asked for it, but because Gene was given one as a result of this thing.
Oh, this promotion.
I didn't go out and stand in line for an Xbox like most idiot parents do. You know, so he was implying that, like, that's something special his kid has that is because of who he is and what he did or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, when kids get a BMW when they're 16, and there's nothing attached to it that earns it, i.e., maybe they work at, I don't know.
Maybe they pay half the car payment because they got a job somewhere. Yeah, they help out.
Maybe they bag groceries. It tells the kid that, you have to do something in order to, earn this. That things don't just happen, You have to get a job in order to pay part of your insurance or something. But I have a funny feeling that he's not quite as principled as he lets himself on to be.
Oh, absolutely true.
I just think that's a really stupid example.
I think so much
of the idea of drug abuse. I don't think taking a pain pill for a facelift is drug abuse.
Oh, God, no. Of course it's not. I mean, when a doctor prescribes pain pills for whatever it is you're going through, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's why you have these drugs, and it's a good thing. I mean, if it can make you feel more comfortable and alleviate your pain, allow you to sleep and get by a little easier, there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, I have visions of this guy, at 80 getting, some old age-related cancer and saying,
he doesn't want it.
I don't take any pain relief for my cancer.
Yeah.
I take the chemo, I go home, I feel fine.
Yeah, we'll see how fast he has a morphine drip on him. Yeah, in a blink of an eye, believe me. What he says and what he practices, I think, are two different things. In not maybe not many cases, but certainly in some.
Well, I admire his stand, but I just don't know.
I just don't know how much of it is garbage.
I think it's overly righteous to suggest that people, should not be comforted when they have some kind of surgery. I think that's ridiculous.
Well, and he's overly righteous on all fronts anyway.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't even keep up with all the righteousness in that interview.
God almighty, you're not kidding. He's put himself so above everyone, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Really has.
It's kind of nauseating. It's more than nauseating.
Yeah,
it's positively hard to listen to.
Yeah, for all this intelligence he has and everything else, he's not a dumb guy and all that. But I mean, for all these things, boy, the one thing he has not learned, and that's humility, man.
Yeah. Well, I find myself saying a lot of times, if these people are as smart as they say they are, they wouldn't say how smart they are because they realize how asinine that sounds.
It sounds, exactly.
I just read an article about suitcase number 20 on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah.
Did you read that article?
No.
She's a Mensa.
Oh.
She's on the cover of Mensa
I heard about
magazine.
that the other day. We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah. And it's like,
God,
okay,
please.
she opens briefcases on Deal or No Deal, and she's a Mensa?
Yeah. Yeah.
That didn't quite make sense to me. I mean, you would think that her mind would want a little more occupation than that.
Yeah, than peeking inside and going, oh, you're lucky, it's 1 cent.
75, oh, what do you know?
Yeah. Oh, $500,000.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. It's all my fault.
But I guess the point is, it's really just a lot of BS, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the end?
Yeah, in the end. In the end, when it's all said and done, as they say, at the end of the day, it is. It's all BS.
Don't you find it annoying, too, and maybe this is just me, but when he rags on Ace and Peter Criss...
You're right.
Now, the way I look at it is, if that's your band, and that band is what made him, I would think you'd be backing up everybody at all times. You'd always be saying, well, he's had his share of problems, but he's a great guy, and, he had a lot to do with our success, blah, blah, blah. But instead, all he says is, Paul and I are the guys, and these two guys have so many problems.
Yeah, they're all drug fiends, and they've chosen to just turn their brain into mush. And
well, he's labeled them, because they had drug problems, he's just labeled them drug addicts. And,
right.
I mean, he literally calls them drug addicts.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, it's a pretty broad brush. And I don't know how bad, honestly. I don't know. I haven't heard of Ace or Peter Criss getting in any large degree of trouble lately, have they?
No. They've been running silent for a long time.
And we all know about Ace's experience.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
book,
Ace is hilarious.
What was the book? It was Kiss Something. It had Kiss in the title. Kiss and Tell?
Yeah, but it's all that funny stuff with Ace, the business of taking everything apart, and then he can't reassemble it. And, of course, the ironing of the shirts before his gig, he made his own merchandise and was standing there with an ironing board.
Ace,
the guy is hysterical.
Ace gently pushing the steam button down, And then he says, somehow I don't picture Jimmy Page doing this before his gigs, and Ace blows up at the guy.
I know. That was exactly it, pressing the steam button.
Because Ace was putting the logo on the front of the T-shirt to save money rather than getting them made up front.
Yeah.
But
wasn't that a solo tour or something?
Yeah,
that was
going
on,
tour.
I believe, yeah.
But you know what? Ace had the biggest hit of any of them on his own.
Yeah.
What was the big song Ace did? It was a single.
Rock Soldiers.
Is that what it was?
Rock Soldiers is the one I know. Rock Soldiers come. Rock
does he even want to give him credit for much of that?
See if he's listed in our...
The cheesy line in there is, if the devil wants to play his game, he's going to have to play without an ace in his deck.
I don't think that's the song, though. It's another song. But I was watching... Do you ever watch the History of Rock and Roll on VH1?
Yeah.
I've seen that here and there.
When they got to Kiss, the interesting thing about it was...
I saw some of that Kiss stuff on VH1. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they made a big deal out of pointing out, that because of course, the first thing they covered was Gene.
Right.
And they talked about Paul. But then they got to Ace, and they said, Ace is probably the underrated catalyst of Kiss. And they talked about his guitar playing and some of his nice leads in a lot of the songs, and that it was really Ace's sound and a lot of Ace's production. I guess Ace did a lot of the arranging in the studio. And so, to just put him down as a drug addict who can't be trusted to be on tour. And I don't remember the last time I think Ace was on tour was when they put their makeup back on. Yeah. And they played with Sponge and they played with Alice in Chains at Tiger Stadium. But I don't recall Ace getting in any trouble then, and I don't recall him really being a problem since then either.
No. I think he's cleaned up his act. As a matter of fact, in our information here, this was Thursday, March 29th. That was the item on this. Simmons says no to original Kiss lineup reunion, but it could still happen. And see, here he goes. Here he goes again. They're talking about this reunion. A lot of Kiss fans wonder if the original members could ever get back together again. And Gene Simmons says no, or was that a maybe? According to Blabbermouth, Simmons told this UK-based classic rock magazine, I personally don't want to have a reunion. I love original lead guitarist Ace Frehley and original drummer Peter Criss. Always have, and because of my tough love thing, I've never been shy about saying they've been drug addicts and alcoholics and they've destroyed themselves, end quote.
Well,
see, and then he goes on to say regarding a reunion, maybe. Never say never.
I think that's so crappy.
I do too.
Because, first of all, to just label them that, if they don't have a problem currently, then I think it's it's kind of like, if people want to say I'm an alcoholic, because they drank excessively at one point in their life, and maybe they haven't had a drink in 20 years, but they still refer to themselves that way.
Right.
Because it's just sort of their thing.
Yeah.
I respect that. I totally respect that.
Oh, yeah, I don't care.
But for someone else, if someone went through a problem and came out the other end and they're doing okay, and that's kind of the impression I get when it comes to Ace. I don't think it's fair for somebody who is allegedly his friend and his bandmate. Isn't it his job to present him in the best light possible and say, Ace has had some problems, but, he was great. He contributed a lot to because that's what this was interesting about this history of rock and roll thing was.
Right.
They were trying to say that Ace Frehley was a big part of it, and they also said that if you talk to any member of the KISS Army, the thing they clamor for most is a reunion of all 4 members.
Right, absolutely.
That Gene and Paul are great, but they really want the whole band back together.
Absolutely, and it's a guy like him that stirred the pot and made the whole thing work as well, whether he wants to admit it or not. He says here too regarding a reunion, I reserve the right to change my mind about Ace and Peter anytime I choose. Never say never is true. How much did you say you want to pay us to get back together again? How many hundreds of millions? People say you can't be bought. F&A right you can. Even God passes a hat around at the end of the sermon. There he is, that same pile, that stream of arrogance coming out of him.
When I think of how my life was spared from that near fatal wreck, if the devil wants to play his card game now, he's gonna play without an ace in his deck.
How perfect.
God, that was the coolest line when I was like 12.
Oh, God.
But I get
see, there you have it right there. But see, he's talking down to everybody. If you people are all stupid enough to pay us the money and, hundreds of millions of dollars, go ahead, maybe I'll do it.
But I get the distinct impression that it bothers him that people want that, and he's he wants it not to happen.
Right.
But, of course, if there was no other way to generate that kind of grandiose money, then, he'd break down and do it and make it sound as if he's doing them a big favor.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure he would say that to their face, that he's doing them a big favor.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are clamoring for a payday, and if you play your cards right, maybe I'll give you one.
I think it's probably my sports background, but I just don't like the idea that people who are supposed to be on the same team,
I know.
Whether it's a workplace or it's a band or it's a baseball team, you're supposed to lift each other up. You're not supposed to constantly be, putting somebody down, especially for something that happened as long ago as that.
But in that era, everybody and their brother was doing drugs. If you're in a rock band touring, come on, there's going to be drugs. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Well,
some people make it through, some don't,
Look at some of the best examples of success in that industry. Led Zeppelin, their drummer dies and they break up.
Yeah,
You mean to tell me Led Zeppelin couldn't have had another drummer?
Oh, yeah.
No, they had enough respect for that guy, Bonzo, that they just said, no, we're not going on without him. That was what, it was the 4 of us. And, that's something they probably decided when they were 17. But look how strong those bonds are. And the same thing with The Who and Keith Moon.
Right.
The Beatles and John Lennon, they would never do it without John Lennon. They might screw around in a studio, or they might have done a couple of songs with his tape or whatever.
But the loyalty is there to the originals.
And the Rolling Stones are real finicky about that, too. That took them 20 years to give Ron Wood full membership.
Full status, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, I think it's really kind of rotten, just that part of it. I really...
Well, that's Gene for you, though.
Yeah, for all his
really
righteousness, I think he's really kind of rotten about those guys.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And everybody knows they screwed up. But, more the reason they know they screwed up than anything is from him saying it.
Yeah, time and time again, and lambasting them in public. For those guys, all their carryings on is also what gave them their personality and probably contributed to the kind of licks that he played anyway,
The Kiss and Tell book didn't help. That is one of the funniest goddamn books ever written. It is just so funny.
Absolutely hilarious. God dang
we should
right.
dig the thing out if we still have it. But anyway, okay, Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, that's what it's come to. He's doing a reality show. So, whatever. I'm sure those of you who love Kiss love the show. And, whatever. Take your medicine if that's what you want. Watch it. I have nothing against it. I just had to make that point. I'm just really tired. I guess that's funny. That phone call just kind of wore me. With him, I finally reached my breaking point.
Yeah, I'm starting to not have much tolerance for that anymore out of him. I'm tired of it.
Well, if I hear one more lecture from him on why men and women get along the way they do, I mean,
he's just parroting that crap. He says the same thing every time you turn around.
I know.
I've heard all that crap before. I've heard it 1,000 times.
Well, I haven't been alive quite as long as him, thankfully, I guess. But, I've been around males and females a little bit in my life, and I'm old enough to make my own decisions and have my own theories. And certainly he would not be held up as the expert by the experts on this particular subject. I don't think his example is necessarily the best one.
No, it's not. Absolutely not.
Especially the business of keeping a scrapbook of all your conquests.
Again, he gets away with it because of the money.
I know, but to have it in the house with your unmarried wife of 23 years,
she looks the other way.
Isn't it kind of disrespectful?
Well, yeah.
Isn't it beyond disrespectful?
But that's what he does. He pushes everybody to the limit. He almost degrades them, really. Well, it's a sort of degradation, really, in a way, because, it's flaunting it, it's putting it in her face, it's daring her to walk out. It's just this brazen attitude in her face.
But enough Gene Simmons rant.
Yeah, that's enough. All right.
It's funny, you don't get any of that.
You don't even talking about him anymore.
What's interesting, you don't really get any of that stuff from Paul Stanley either, because we've talked to Paul a number of times, and he never lays that stuff on us.
No, absolutely not. Gene is very unique.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Well, he always makes it interesting. He always gives us something to talk about.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And Family Jewels, obviously doing well enough on A&E to merit another season. Sundays at 9 o'clock, and that was Gino on the